Welcome. Thank you for meeting with me this morning so I can show you something that is a great benefit. It's the VA pension. I'm going to tell you the truth about it. You hear so much bad information about it. I hope that you'll understand or know what I'm talking about. But before that, I want to tell you how I got here. I'm a lawyer, tax lawyer, estate planner. I've been doing this since 1973. I worked with a law firm. I had a great tax practice, and I was teaching tax law at the law school. But then, May 24, 1996, my son, you see his picture there, found me on the floor in my closet, not moving, not talking. In the ER, they told us that I had had a massive stroke. My right side was paralyzed. I could not talk, read or write. They gave me a shot, a clot buster shot, so that what gave me the right of my right side. But the talking was much more difficult. This is the first thing that I saw in the ICU. My wife wrote that. So she could find out what I can do in terms of the talking. See, I had to relearn how to make sounds. B, by, bo, be. Bay. I didn't learn very well. Bay. Anyhow, I had to learn how to make sounds by using a mirror to see how the mouth works. And my wife, Cheryl, found a wonderful therapist who would take me in 3 hours a day, 5 days a week for about 3 months. And I would go to therapy in the morning, and in the afternoon, Cheryl and I would work on what I had just learned. After 15 years of therapy and praying, I realized that I could come back and practice law. And my God told me to come back with my new perspective, to give people comfort. And this is what I've been doing since then, 8 years, giving comfort to people. So here is what we're going to talk about. And almost immediately after I started practicing again, my mother-in-law came into play. They will do that, won't they? She called Cheryl, my wife, said, call the VA. I think they might have some money for me. Cheryl's father was in Germany, World War II. So Cheryl called the VA, and they said, no, she won't qualify. She has too much income. Well, all she had was $1,000 in Social Security. I said, Cheryl, that's not right. Try again. So the next day she called again, and they said, no, she won't qualify because she's on Medicaid. And I heard that. I said, this is crazy. Let me look into this. So I looked into it, and I filed an application for her. She became my first client, and we got the benefits for her. We doubled her income, changed her life, changed not only the financial side, but also it changed her attitude. But here again, this is the VA. I had a client who came to see me who said, my father is 99 years old, and I called the VA, and I asked him if we could get some money for him. And they said, no, he has outlived his useful life. Huh. Really? You know, what I see here, this is the picture, because I feel like it's almost their money, and they don't want people to get it. They have, this program has been in place for over 30 years, but they don't tell anybody about it. And if you try to get it, they just might not want you to get it. They do everything they can for you not to get it. That's why I want to tell you about all this. So what this is, it is a pension for the wartime veterans. All these wars, and I'm going to show you what the dates are. And these are key. These are key. You have to have served during one of these terms. And so, and you'll see that there's World War II and Korean, and there's a difference between the end of World War II and the beginning of Korean. So if somebody is there, but is not in any of those other wars, they will not qualify. We had a number of people who were between wars. And then here's the Vietnam. When we started with this 8 years ago, we didn't see many Vietnam veterans, but now we've seen a lot of them. They're my age. Anyway, and there are two periods for this. And this can be a little tricky. You'll see the February 28, 61 begins. But then when you go to the second period, August 5, 64, you have to look at the 61 to 64. During that period, somebody has to be in Vietnam to get it. We call it boots on the ground. Other than that, with all these other wars, you do not have to have combat. Don't have to go anywhere, actually. Stay in the United States and get it. And the reason is that they don't want you to necessarily to have to fight. The pension is for everybody who served us when we needed them. Anyway, Vietnam starts 61, but to 64 have to be there. After that, up until 75, do not have to be there. And then here, the Gulf War that is still going on, and they say that the war on terror is the continuation of the war. So, get down to the details here. This is the money that you can get. Now, this is the maximum benefits. There are different ways you can get the money, but this is what's called the aid and attendance. And you probably heard about aid and attendance. In fact, most people hear about just aid and attendance, not the VA pension. And I'll tell you what that means, aid and attendance. But this is the maximum we can get. And this is what we typically try to get for everybody. All right, the first one, so the veteran with a dependent, typically it's a couple. And so it is $22.66 per month as long as they are both alive. And that is tax-free for their lives, okay? But let's say that we have got a male veteran and his spouse dies, then he could still get 1911. Or if he were to die, then the surviving spouse can get to 1228 for her, as long as she's alive. What's one of the great things about this? If you can get a couple, then they're in the system. So what we have to do, though, is just make sure that they can qualify, and I'll go through the rest of this. And if we have two married veterans, there's the number that they can get. And we have had several of those. Then another dependent, you can get another $195 per month. All of these are, as I say, tax-free for life. Yeah, I may not have mentioned that we'll do a Q&A after the end of this, if you don't mind. I'll do my best to answer any questions you might have. So this is the amount of money, and to me, it's a lot of money, especially if it's tax-free and for life. And that accumulates quickly. Okay, here's what you have to do. The veteran has to have 90 days of active duty and at least one day during your wartime period. We actually have one person who was in a war only one day. He was in more than 90 days, but only one day was in the wartime period. And what we suggest is that if the veteran was there during those times that I showed you, don't just call us. Let us make sure whether you can get it or not. A lot of people think that there's just so much bad information out there, and people will just don't try to get it. But I'm saying it's out there. It's out there. If you don't get it, it's not as if you're taking money away from somebody else. Okay, the last thing, you have to have the discharge that is not dishonorable. The veteran has to be 65 or 100% disabled. Then the surviving spouse can be any age. We talk about aid in attendance, and what that means, aid in attendance means if you need some help with some of your activities. Okay, yeah, activities of daily living. So these are the things that have to show they have to need some help. And it's not quite as, the standards are a little different from long-term care insurance policies. For example, bathing does not mean that somebody has to scrub your back. If you need grab bars in the shower, or maybe a chair or a stool in the shower, that's help in the bathing. That's help in bathing. And then the transferring, walking, the last one, walking, just if you need a cane. And so what we would typically do, help people to see where they might be able to get to that point to be as aid in attendance. Another thing, and we hear a lot about this, people say, well, if you're not in a nursing home, you can't get it, or you're not assisted living, you can't get it, or if you're in assisted living, you can't get it. No, the VA does not care where you live. You can live in a nursing home, assisted living community. You can live at home. I would guess probably at least half of our clients live at home. And sometimes they can live independently as long as they have certain conditions. So as of right now, we're just talking about that if you cannot, if if the service times are there, it's time to just start looking at everything and see if you can qualify. Okay, this is new now. The VA hit this to us as of 2018. Now you cannot have more than that 129,094. Before then, though, you didn't know how much you could have. So at least you know how much you can have. And then also, though, you can have your home, and you can have with 2 acres of land with it. However, it could be, you can have more than 2 acres if the excess acreage cannot be sold by itself. Then personal effects don't count. Then you also have to add in the household income as part of the net worth. But we calculate all that. And in the real, so what you can do too, all the income can be offset. And this is key to receiving the pension. What we have to do, so most people don't realize this, you have to have more than medical expenses than income. So many applications are sent in without medical expenses, or not enough to receive it. And a lot of times, people will go to the VA office and they'll fill it out and send it to you. But they may not even, in fact, I have never seen anybody who has received it because they put the medical expenses in there. They just don't do it. And I think that they do not have to give any advice to anybody. Okay, so here's an example. Let's say we got income, Social Security, pension, $2,500, and the only medical expenses, recurring medical expenses, is the Part B and the Medicare supplement. So that's $315. So you can see the difference. It's the $30,000 versus the $3,780. So this person would not qualify. But here again, let's say same amount of income, but now he needs help, and so he has caregivers and pays the caregivers $2,500 per month. So then you'll see that the income $30,000 and the expenses $33,780, and so he'll qualify for the full amount. And that will be what we will be looking for if they have that. And caregiver fees can be counted. If you live in an assisted living community, all the fees are medical expense. And you can live in the independent living community if you need a caregiver with that, and can live at home if you have a caregiver. And so there are a number of ways to have those medical expenses. Okay, so here's another new thing. We've got the net worth limit, so we know what it is at least. But this is sort of like the Medicaid rules now. There's a look back period such that if you file an application, they want to know if you have made any transfers in the last 3 years. And if you have, they will give you a penalty period, sort of like the Medicaid, but Medicaid is 5 years. And so So you cannot have made any transfer to anybody for that 3 years. Another thing that they have done is that they assume if you were to buy an annuity within that 3 year period, that is just the same as making a transfer to somebody else. So what we see now is that people really everybody has to plan now, as soon as you possibly can. So otherwise you may have to wait to 3 years. And we have a number that do. Okay, so here's what I hear. Too good to be true. No, it is true. We have received more than 650 clients. Sounds like welfare. It's not an entitlement. It is a pension that you deserve it, or whoever, the veteran or the spouse, deserve it because it was earned by serving our country. Somebody say, I'm okay, I don't need it, but you don't know when you might need it. Too complicated, we do it. We do it so you don't have to worry about it. Then too much trouble, not worth it. Well, maybe, but look at that. The first surviving spouse, look how much that is. I mean, you can look at all those. So you have to look and decide whether you think it would be worth it for you. Well, yeah, you can call the VA. You might try that. I don't know that I think too much of that. I'll tell you what, here's what we do. What we do is that we have a conversation, an intake call from somebody here at our office, just to make sure that you will qualify, just the service times, but also get a little bit of information from you because we want to know a good bit about you. They'll send you a questionnaire so that we'll know what your financial situation is, what you have, what your income is, what your expenses are, find something about your family, because what we want to do is we do not just file VA applications. I've always been an estate planner, and I see that I have a holistic practice. We want to know what all you really need so we can take care of you. You might need will, power of attorney, medical directive, maybe in trust, who knows, maybe an LLC or so, to protect your assets. So what we would do is that you have the intake call, you get the questionnaire, and you send it to us, and we will spend about an hour and a half with you, maybe 2 hours, to understand exactly what all's going on with you. And then we'll figure out exactly what you do. We'll do the legal work for you too. And then we will file the application. And what we typically do is that we typically have a fee for the initial conference, $400. But here again, since you have listened to me today, you just call us and that will not cost you anything. And what I will do, that when we meet, I'll tell you what needs to be done for you. And if I'm going to do some work for you, then I will set a fee, and you can take it or you don't have to. If you don't like that, then you can leave. No hard feelings. So we'll ask you if you have any questions, you can hit me with them. And also, if you would like a copy of this presentation, send me an email. We'll send it to you. We can send it to you through the email, or we can send it by the mail if you want, a hard copy of it. So, all right, do we have any questions here? Question that I have here, do survivors of divorce veterans qualify? No, they do not, unless that person has remarried to a veteran. So, no. So what you have to do, you have to be a surviving spouse, there have to be a spouse as of the time that the veteran died. Okay. Thank you all again, and we'd be happy to sit down with y'all and see what your situation might be. I think I got maybe one more question here. Can you be retired? Oh yeah, almost everybody is retired. Yeah, almost everybody is retired. In fact, you have to be retired. You can't be working, basically. All right, I've got a long question here. Okay, the question is that my husband and I came to see me about some work, and he had served in Vietnam and passed away, and she wants to know whether she can qualify. Yes, you can qualify, should be able to, if kind of whether we can qualify you for the aid and attendance. But here again, I would not want to say no as of now. I would ask you to just come and let us figure out where we are with that. And it could be that you could get a pension that's not exactly what we're talking about, just a basic pension. It's called DIC. So it will be sort of, kind of depends on what he died of in the COPD, and that might qualify. But here again, all this has to be looked at carefully just to make sure that we do it, that we know we can do that. So here's one. I am retired military. Does that affect my benefit? No, it does not actually. Yeah, I got a couple of clients who are getting 4 checks from the federal government. Got social security, civil service, military retirement, and the veteran pension. So yeah, so being retired, getting your military retirement does not make any difference. Kind of makes a difference just in the income, but we have to work on that. That's when it's a little complicated. Let's see. Here's the person who asked about the husband dying, his COPD. He never applied for disability, although he did contact the VA. They were less than unresponsive. No kidding. I understand that. I've seen that. Just what my wife heard from them, and also my client with the 99-year-old father. By the way, he lived to 104. Assets can be protected through. Yeah. So yeah, we do that. Well, as an estate planner, we have got all sorts of tools that we can protect. And the best thing that you can do, and I can't get into this here, but we use a lot of LLCs and trusts to protect assets because there are so many things that can happen to people, not just the VA, but because of the car wreck, things like that. Plaintiffs' lawyers are after anybody who's looking to have any any income, any assets. If you are now receiving VA compensation now, would that help in receiving this pension? I'm 30% disabled. Well, you can't have both of them, but you get the larger, and most likely the pension would be higher than what you're getting at 30%. And I didn't talk about this, but when you say VA compensation, that's disability. It's a totally different program from this. And we did not deal with that. We have somebody else that we refer people to that. But here again, what we do is just the pension. Okay, I hope I was able to answer those appropriately. If not, just call me. We'll talk, okay? We'd love to see you, all of you at some point. And we're right here. Like I said, we're here to just give comfort to everybody that we can. Thank you. Thank you much.
You've just heard Attorney Kim Kimbrough explain how certain VA benefits can help older veterans, their spouses, and their dependents. To find out if you qualify, schedule a consultation with Kimbrough Law. You can do this in one of two ways. If you live near Athens or Gainesville, you can visit our office. If you prefer not to travel, we can meet with you by phone or Zoom video. An initial consultation normally costs $400. However, because you've watched this webinar, your consultation will be absolutely free. Consider it our gift to you. To schedule your consultation, click on the link below or give us a call.